This is Mayor Craig Petersen. Following is the State of the City PowerPoint that I presented to the Logan City Council on January the 17th, 2017. This presentation has two purposes. The first is to review what we accomplished in 2016, and the we means primarily our wonderful Logan City employees. The presentation will focus on the things that we did above and beyond the need to maintain normal city operations, such as providing electric power, making sure that the toilets flush and the water is on and the garbage is picked up and the roads are drivable. The second purpose is to preview what we anticipate will be major projects in 2017, recognizing that may change as we progress through the year. Last December, we successfully implemented the use of a 311 number for non-emergency calls. If a citizen has a non-emergency such as a billing question or wants to report a pothole or other things such as that, they can simply dial 311 and that will take them directly to the main switchboard. During the second week of January, we had a major snowstorm, and we successfully used this number to allow citizens to call on weekends to get sandbags and report particular problems that they might be facing. In 2014, I worked with then USU Provost Noel Cockett to create the Community Bridge Initiative. Basically, the way that this works is that if there are particular issues that the city is interested in, either studies or work projects, we work with the university to match up university classes with those projects. The project has been extremely successful and has since been expanded beyond Logan City. Following are the projects that we did in 2016 and the projects that we have scheduled for 2017. Logan City paired up successfully with USU on 4 Community Bridge Initiative projects in 2016. One was a project where students assisted in tree planting at Second Dam. A second was a USU class that conducted a survey of attitudes toward urban deer in Logan City to determine how serious the citizens thought the problem was and what policy options they might support. A third project was a rural recycling analysis. Students examined cans in the rural parts of the valley to determine how full they were and determine whether or not the frequency of pickup of recycling cans would be adjusted. What we determined was that most cans are full and there really would be no reason to change the frequency of pickup. A fourth Community Bridge Initiative project involved social media assistance. 2 USU interns were assigned to Logan City during the fall of 2016, and they helped us to get started on the use of Instagram. They made a number of YouTube videos, and they also developed Facebook and Twitter content for us. If you click on the YouTube and the Facebook lettering on the slide, those are links that will take you to see what the students actually did. At this point, we have 3 Community Bridge Initiative projects scheduled for 2017. The first involves a Healthy Communities grant that the city received, and the students will participate by looking at the outcomes of that project and evaluating their impact. A second is that the city will embark on a neighborhood survey of the Woodruff neighborhood, and the students will participate in a survey of residents in the Woodruff neighborhood. And the third involves the new wastewater treatment plant that Logan City will be building over the next few years, and the students will analyze the possibilities, the economic possibilities for cogeneration of taking methane that's generated by that plant and using it to produce electricity. For the last 2 years, Logan City has determined to put greater emphasis on the use of social media to inform citizens of what's happening and to tell the city's story. That involves both Facebook and Twitter, and you can see some of the things that were done during the last year. Note in particular at the bottom of the slide that our views per post increased from 300 to 1,000. I think that reflects the fact that we put more interesting and more useful information on Facebook and Twitter. If you click on the lettering at the top in blue, that will take you to Logan City's Facebook page, and you can see what we're doing. The fall of 2017 will be a municipal election. Filing deadline for that is in June, and that election will be run by Teresa Harris, and for the second time Logan City will use vote by mail. We did that 2 years ago, and it proved to be very successful for the city, and also very successful in the sense that the turnout was substantially increased. The remainder of the presentation will be organized in terms of the different city departments. The first of those is economic development. In 2015, Logan City hosted the overall start and finish of the Tour of Utah, and in 2017 the overall start and finish will again be hosted in Logan, Utah. That event occurring on Monday, July the 31st, 2017. Part of sponsoring this event involves some substantial fundraising obligations for Logan City, and at this point we have about 60% of the money raised, and will continue until we have the rest. When this came to Logan in 2015, it proved to be a very popular event with the citizens and an excellent tool for economic development. The race then and the race in 2017 went up Logan Canyon, will go around Bear Lake and come back to Logan City. And the event is telecast throughout Utah and also on Fox Sports throughout the world. So it provides Logan City with substantial exposure. For many years, the intent of the city is that the southeast corner of the city block at Main Street and 2nd North could better be used for commercial activity, and that's been realized at this point. The property was sold in January of 2017, and the property owner's intent is to provide a 100-room Hampton Inn on that site. Construction will start at the spring of 2017. The picture on the left shows the facade of the facility, and the picture on the right shows the footprint. In May of 2016, Logan City purchased 3 buildings immediately across the street from the historic Tabernacle. Those are the Plaza 45 building, the Emporium building, and the Poco Loco building. For many years, that particular set of buildings has been underutilized. During the time that the Copper Mill restaurant was in the Emporium, there was some traffic, but on the main floor and the bottom of the Emporium, there really was very little commercial activity. This is the absolute heart of our downtown, and the intent of the city is that that complex of buildings needs to be better utilized to bring people into the downtown area. There are a number of options being considered, and it's anticipated that the use of the Emporium in particular will be announced in early 2017. Logan City has pledged to make efficient use of our financial resources, and we look very closely at trends in our revenues and also in terms of our expenditures. And the city has very tight controls on the use of money. At the same time, our Human Resources Department attempts to make sure that our employees are well taken care of and productive. In 2016, Logan City significantly redesigned its website. The website was actually outsourced, and the 2 outcomes of that are, first of all, a website that has a much more modern and more easily navigated design, and at the same time the city significantly saved money on the development and the maintenance of the website. And if you'd like to see the website, simply click on the lettering at the top of the slide. From both a legal and a business standpoint, Logan City maintains a large number of documents. It's important that those documents be efficiently stored and easily retrieved. And so we will implement during 2017 a new document management software program. One of the requirements of that will be digitization of documents, which will take place over several years. Logan City was legally incorporated January the 17th, 1866. So 2016 was the city's sesquicentennial year. We kicked off that year with a magnificent celebration in the Logan City Tabernacle on Sunday, January 17th. That celebration involved Elder Gary Stevenson, an apostle from the LDS Church, and also a resident of Logan City, and also the American Festival Chorus. The tabernacle was packed to the rafters that night, and I think everyone who was there would agree that the program was inspiring and delightful. In 2015, Logan City decided to go with a firm called Arches for health insurance because they provided a very competitive bid. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, Arches was unable to continue as our health insurance provider, and we were left to essentially scramble to find another provider. We made a transition and selected Cigna as our new provider, and the transition from Arches to Cigna turned out to be relatively seamless and with very few concerns for our employees, and we're very pleased with the service that Cigna has provided us. Typically each year we go out for another bid, and based on the bid we may switch to another healthcare provider, and that decision will be made in the first quarter of 2017. Logan City takes risk management very seriously. Anytime that we have an incident that involves property or an employee or a citizen, the event is carefully reviewed and presented to the department heads, and we look for ways that we can improve in the future. We also made a significant step forward on our liability insurance during this year. Previously, we had a policy with a deductible of $1 million. That's been reduced to $100,000. Our coverage has been expanded, and we've saved over $100,000. And so we're in the situation of having a better policy at a lower cost. Logan City's Public Works Department is responsible for activities such as water and sewer and roads. In addition to its normal activities, members of the Public Works Department participated in a Logan River study involving representatives from Utah State University, the city, and also state agencies. That group has been meeting for 2 years, and during 2016 finished its Conservation Action Plan for the Logan River. From that Conservation Action Plan, there are a number of proposals, and the first 2 of those will be implemented in 2017. One of them involves the reconstruction of Logan River Bank at the Stewart Nature Park. The riverbank was eroding, and the project will stabilize the bank and prevent further erosion. Another project is down at the city's Rendezvous Park just off Highway 8991, and the project will involve creating a sediment pond to catch sediment as it comes down the river, but that sediment pond will also provide some very significant recreational potential for citizens. Every year the Public Works Department is involved in several road construction or reconstruction projects. During 2016 there were 4. One was the reconstruction of the road at 400 East and 1000 North, and the other was the construction of a new road at 800 West from 600 to 800 North. The 2 other projects, which I will characterize as neighborhood road projects, involve first the reconstruction of the road and the putting in of sidewalk in the area 350 South, and the second involves reconstruction of the road, putting of curb and the planting of trees on Riverside Drive along Logan River. The 400 North from Main Street to Logan Canyon is one of 4 important roads in Logan City. In 2015, the city completed a 400 North corridor study, and from that came a number of proposals. One of those involves putting medians and closing off intersections to facilitate the flow of traffic. So during 2017, medians will be installed, and the intersections at 300 East and 500 East will be closed. Currently, it's very difficult for pedestrians to cross Main Street on South Main. The street's wide and there's a heavy flow of traffic. To facilitate pedestrian crossing, 2 crossings will be put in during 2017. One of those will be at 500 South, and the other will be at the so-called Y at about 700 South. Financial resources are always scarce, and so choices have to be made. 2 intersections in Logan City that have proved to be a concern are at 800 North and 600 West, and the second at 1000 North and 200 West. One of those 2 intersections will be reconstructed during 2017, and the choice of the 2 simply will depend on the logistics of getting ready for the projects. This is a small project, but one that I think citizens might enjoy. In the area just west of where the current library is, the city plans to install a weather station in conjunction with Utah State University. Citizens will be able to go to the kiosk, and with a touch screen will be able to call up both current weather conditions and also weather conditions from the past. And there'll be a wide variety of different data that will be available. It's certainly not important, but I found it interesting that if you go to our Public Works building, you'll find another weather station which consists of simply a rock. It's a little weather station you can buy on the internet for about $18, but if you look closely at the slide, I think you might find it amusing. Several years ago, Logan City started a walking and biking trail up along the boulevard. That trail was completed over to 4th North during 2016. Another part of the project involves a so-called steep dugway. For many, many years, people who were going up or down the steep dugway were forced to walk on a very narrow, about 18 inches, small piece of asphalt. It was dangerous, and the amount of traffic was extremely heavy. During 2016, we completed a sidewalk that comes up the steep dugway. It's turned out to be very, very popular and also very attractive. Several years ago, the Parks and Recreation Department gets to do the fun stuff, and they had a number of significant projects that were completed during 2016 and some important projects that are projected for completion during 2017. On reflection, Parks and Recreation has as part of its operations a cemetery, and that probably doesn't qualify as being fun stuff. But Logan City has a beautiful cemetery, but it had fallen somewhat into disrepair, and the goal is to restore it to its former beauty. One of the major issues was that some of the roads were literally falling apart. 2 of the main roads in the cemetery were resurfaced in 2016, and 3 more are scheduled for resurfacing during 2017. During 2016, the cemetery was forced to rely on culinary water, and that proved to be very expensive. During 2017, a new water line will be constructed that will involve not only the cemetery but other parts of the nearby area. That will allow the cemetery to use much cheaper secondary water. As you can see from the picture on the left, the main entrance to the Logan City Cemetery was not very impressive. And indeed, if you'd gotten up closer, you would have seen that those pillars are beginning to crumble. We determined that there ought to be a beautiful entrance to a beautiful cemetery. And so we had a new entrance designed. We went out to private citizens and corporations and asked for their assistance. And during 2016, a brand new, beautiful entrance to the cemetery was constructed. And it was funded primarily with private money. And it really looks, I think, exceptional at this point. One of the highlights of the July 4th holiday is Logan City's Freedom Fire production held in Maverick Stadium. We had a very successful Freedom Fire in 2016 and expect it to be even better in 2017. One of the highlights over the last couple of years has been an in-stadium laser show. And although we're aware that people come and sit on their blankets around the stadium and are certainly welcome to do so, to get the real impact of Freedom Fire, you need to be in the stadium to see the laser show and also to see some of the fireworks that are not visible from outside of the stadium. I should also mention that on some of the slides, the next slides, you're going to see the designation RAPS. RAPS is a tax that's used to support recreational activities. And Logan City has made an effort to leverage its own resources by finding other sources of funding. And one of the most important of those has been the RAPS money, which is allocated to Logan City by the County Council. Pickleball is undoubtedly the fastest growing racket sport in the world. I was watching television a while back, and there was a facility down in Florida that had 110 courts with a long line of people waiting to play. Brigham City a couple of years ago built 8 courts and is now building another 9 courts. Logan City has not had pickleball courts in the past, but the plan is during 2017 that we'll construct 8 pickleball courts down by the Bridger School in northwest Logan. And that project is due for completion by June 1st of 2017. I think that the facility will be heavily used, and it's particularly important as an enticement to our summer citizens who will make heavy use of pickleball. Trapper Park is a relatively isolated park down in the southwest part of Logan, but it's a beautiful little area, very secluded, and it will provide, I think, important service to a portion of our citizens who have been underserved with parks. The trail that leads to Trapper Park was completed during 2016. It starts essentially at 10th West by the Icon property and continues on to Trapper Park. It's a very isolated trail with birds and water creatures and things like that, and people who have been on the trail, I think, really enjoy it. Currently, if walkers or bikers want to get from the USU campus down to First Dam, they have to go down a relatively steep hill on the shoulders of the highway with cars speeding by, and that's a relatively unsafe condition. The Canyon Connector Trail will extend along 400 North from approximately 12th East and go all the way down to First Dam. The project is a partnership between Logan City, USU, and UDOT. USU will construct the trail from approximately 12th East to 16th East, and Logan City will take the trail down to First Dam. We're very fortunate to have gotten participation on the project with money from RAPS and also 2 grants from the Utah Department of Transportation totaling $317,000. The design of the trail is complete now, and construction will occur during 2017. Countryside Village Park is just off 10th West. in the southern portion of Logan. A major part of the park was completed in 2016, and the final part, a restroom, will be finished in 2017. On the southeast corner of Merlin Olsen Park is a tennis court and a basketball court, neither of which are in great condition. This particular project will resurface the basketball court and the tennis court, and also add another 2 pickleball courts. In addition, the area will be usable during the winter for an ice skating rink. And the advantage of that is the current ice skating rink some years can't be used at all, because the requirement is you have a snow base before you can put the ice on top of the ground. But this particular facility will have a different type of surface, so that the ice can be put directly on the surface, and as a consequence we'll be able to have longer usage. It'll be a relatively small rink. It'll be particularly suitable probably for hockey, but also will be available for open skating. And that's scheduled for completion during 2017. Starting just above the Logan Country Club and connecting to the Bonneville Shoreline Trail is the Highline Trail, which is high above the highway and on the north side of the mountain, and extends 1.7 miles to where it connects again with the highway. This trail was opened in 2016. It provides spectacular views of the canyon and also of Logan City, and it's proven to be one of our most popular trails. One of the city's goals is to connect our trails. There's currently a very, very popular trail going along Logan River down by Rendezvous Park. There's also the trail that I previously mentioned that goes into Trapper Park. The Rendezvous Park connecting trail will, as the name implies, connect those 2 segments. It'll start essentially at the dog park at Rendezvous Park and extend through a forested area, go across the street and connect up with the Trapper Park Trail. And that trail, this new trail, the Rendezvous Park Connecting Trail, is scheduled for completion in early 2017. The Canyon Road Trail runs from First Dam down to 400 East. The section of the trail from First Dam down to approximately the Canyon Road Park was completed a number of years ago, but some concerns were voiced by neighbors in terms of their privacy. The east section of that trail was augmented with fencing at the request of certain neighbors, and it now is open for public use. During 2017, another trailhead will be constructed to that trail. That trailhead will be at 700 East in the Utah State University parking lot. There's an existing trail that goes down the hill right now, but it really is poorly constructed and not safe, and so that trailhead will be constructed, widened, and improved during 2017. Many families would like to have a family garden but can't because of the circumstances of where they live. For the first time in 2016, Logan City started providing community gardens. These are small plots of land down by the Bridger School in northwest Logan, and they are available to people at a very nominal cost, and they can raise their own produce there. This has been proven to be popular when we did it last summer, and we anticipate that the size of our community garden will expand in 2017. The longer I serve as mayor, the more I realize how fortunate Logan City citizens are to have their own light and power company. It makes decision making easier, and also as you look at the frequency of outages, Logan City Light and Power has outages that are much, much less frequent than other private utilities. The upgrades at Third Dam are important but also frustrating projects. The intent is to reconstruct Third Dam and also to do some reconstruction on some of our hydroelectric generating facilities, and finally to do some dredging of Third Dam. If you look at the pictures of Third Dam during the 1960s, you see it almost entirely clear, but if you look at it now, you see that the vegetation has covered a large portion of the area. The intent is to clear out that area, which will make it more usable for recreation. Our intention was to start this project in the fall of 2016, and Logan City had done everything that we needed to do, but in order for us to start, we had to get a permit from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. We were waiting during the summer of 2016 for that permit so that we could start construction in the fall of 2017. We're still waiting for that permit. The construction needs to occur during the fall because of the low waters, and we certainly are hopeful that we can do it in the fall of 2017, but we are at this point dependent on the permit that comes from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. In a sense, I view this as being the federal government at its worst, because this is not a process that should have taken this long. For this project, we owe a debt to the dedication and the competence of the Light and Power Department. In 2016, we installed decorative lights on 100 North west of Main Street and also on Center Street east of Main Street. Those lights were also extended up 400 North from Main Street to 700 East. And if you look at those, you see that they really have changed the look. In particular, this project on 400 North, plus the medians that I mentioned earlier, will change the look of that street. It will become more of a boulevard and less of a highway. In 2017, those same types of decorative street lights will be installed on South Main. For a number of years, the offices of the Light and Power Department were on the city block at Main Street just off 200 North. But that space was too small, and also that space is now going to be used for commercial activity, so it was necessary to construct a new Light and Power building. That building was finished in 2016. It provides more efficient and usable space for the department, and in particular, we're proud of the fact that we built an environmental friendly building, that it has solar panels and also has a ground source heat pump for heating and cooling. It wasn't a flashy project, but it was an important project. The city has a substation at approximately 10th North and 3rd East, and the transformer at that location was becoming a little suspect. And so a major and an expensive project was the replacement of the transformer at that location. The two primary responsibilities of the environmental department are treatment of wastewater and collection of garbage. That department has two huge projects that are underway, and those will be described in the next couple of slides. For over 50 years, wastewater in Cache County has been treated by a series of lagoons, as shown in the picture at the left. A number of years ago, the requirements changed, and the Environmental Protection Agency determined that that lagoon system could no longer meet current and future regulations. As a result, the city is being required to construct a new wastewater treatment facility using a different technology. That project is projected to cost about $110 million. It's the largest project in the history of Logan City. At this point, via low-interest loans and accumulated reserves, the funding for the project has almost completely been secured. The city commissioned a rate study to determine the necessary increase in rates, and that study will be completed in February of 2017. The design of the new facility is underway and will be completed in the fall of 2017, and the project is scheduled for completion in 2021 and operation in 2022. The second major project of the Environmental Department is the construction of a new landfill near Clarkston. That project involved the construction of a road in addition to the construction of the landfill. The construction of the road was completed in 2016 and involved a substantial cost saving as we look at the estimated cost versus the actual cost. The preparation of the first cell in the landfill started in 2016, and once again there was a substantial cost saving, almost $2 million, between the estimated cost and the actual bid cost. The final part of the cell preparation will be the lining of the cell in 2017, and the landfill is scheduled for operation in the fall of 2017. 2016 was a very difficult year for police departments around the world. The Logan City Police Department is very appreciative of the support of Logan City citizens. In 2016, the department established a safe exchange zone just to the north of the police station that allows people with transactions to come and to engage in those transactions in a situation that's safe. The police department also constructed a shoot house. The shoot house will allow them to do training scenarios, and that shoot house was privately funded. As many people are aware, it becomes more difficult to get people to go into policing, and so Chief Jensen has a number of recruiting initiatives that he'll implement in 2017 in order to facilitate recruitment. Firefighters also appreciate the support of Logan City citizens. You notice in the chart at the top that the volume of calls has increased dramatically over the last few years. The graph at the bottom shows the number of ambulance transfers. These are situations where someone has to be transported out of the valley for one reason or another. And we found ourselves in a situation where we simply didn't have enough ambulance capacity to take care of that. And so the governing agency, which is referred to as SIMS, approved under the sponsorship of Chief Petersen a new ambulance and crew. We anticipate that it may be somewhat more modern than the one that's shown in the picture. The process of planning for and implementing new growth in Logan City is the responsibility of the Community Development Department. In 2016, Community Development initiated a new website that will allow businesses and homeowners, developers, to get information about what's required for new projects. In 2017, we'll carry that online process a step further by implementing a website that will allow permits to be obtained online rather than coming to the office. One of the most frequently voiced concerns by citizens in neighborhoods is that of over-occupancy in homes. The intent of the city is to develop an online occupancy map, and that map will allow citizens or anyone else to go to the location and to click on a particular property and to determine the legal maximum occupancy at that property. One of the things that will do will allow citizens to determine whether or not a property really is overoccupied. As part of a recent project to widen 200 East, Logan City acquired a number of lots on 200 East between 200 South and 300 South For a number of years, that's simply been vacant property. That area was replotted and 8 lots developed, and an RFP was put out for their sale. Those lots were sold in December of 2016, and the developer is anxious to get started with new homes, and we anticipate that the first homes on those lots will start construction in the spring of 2017. One of the advantages to this project is that it will provide some revitalization to that neighborhood. The sale of the lots also brought in a fair amount of revenue that the city can use for road improvements. Facilities aren't useful if you can't find them. Over the last couple of years, community development has initiated a system of wayfinding signs that allow people to locate the important facilities in Logan City. Phase 2 of that project was completed in 2016, and Phase 3 will be finished in 2017. In a similar vein, active people need to know where our trails are and how long the trails are and how long it takes to get to the trails. And so an active recreation signage project was completed by Community Development in 2016, and it provides directions to trails, but also the walking and the biking time associated with those trails. Sound planning will make for better neighborhoods in the future. Community Development has been developing plans for each of Logan City's neighborhoods. In 2016, the plan for the Hillcrest neighborhood was completed and approved by the City Council. In 2017, the neighborhood plans for Woodruff and Bridger will be initiated. In addition to that, an urban forest plan for trees around the city is nearing completion. 2 years ago, the city completed a roundabout at 2nd East and 500 North. Initially, some citizens were a little skeptical, but at this point I think people realize that the flow of traffic through intersections is much smoother and safer when roundabouts are involved. Another roundabout is planned for 500 North and 600 East. This essentially is at one of the gateways to Utah State University. To facilitate the construction of that roundabout, the city requested CMAQ funds, which stands for Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality, and a grant of $750,000 was received for the roundabout. In addition to that, USU will contribute by funding the decoration of the roundabout itself. And that project is in planning and will be completed during 2017. RDA funds are used to support Logan City's facade grant program. This program provides partial support to businesses who want to improve the appearance of their facilities in downtown Logan. In 2016, money was provided to help Jack's Wood-Fired Oven, the Sportsman, and Even Steven Sandwiches. Another project designed to improve the appearance of the downtown is the installation of planters. A number of planters were installed on the Emporium block across the street from the Tabernacle, and the plan is that additional planters will be installed in 2017. The northwest section of Logan has evolved to have a disproportionate percentage of multifamily housing. A large plot of land, about 100 acres, has been identified, and the owners have indicated interest in creating a development of single-family homes. This development could ultimately involve as many as 220 homes on large lots. The project has been rezoned for single-family, and the initial phase of the development is being planned. Logan City will participate by providing some financial incentives for the development because we think it's important in changing the character of that particular neighborhood. Subdivisions can be extremely controversial as conflicts arise between neighbors who want to maintain the character of their neighborhoods and developers who want to maximize profits. One instance was the so-called Petersen subdivision at 1400 North and between 12 and 1400 East. Initially, the proposal of the developer is that the project would be developed with 112 lots, most of them at about 6,000 square feet. After a long series of negotiations, the final outcome was that the project was approved with 76 lots with at least 8,000 square feet per lot, and some of them larger. And the resolution proved to be satisfactory both to the developer and to the neighbors. Another controversial subdivision was the so-called Deer Pen area. This property is property that was owned by the city and initially was considered as an expansion of the cemetery, but on further review that seemed not to be an appropriate use for the land. The land has been divided into two components. One will be open space, an open space park, and another portion of the land will be used for a number of lots. This involved again interaction with neighbors, and I think that we came to a resolution that was for most people mutually satisfactory. During 2017 the subdivision will be further refined, and perhaps the lots will then be put up for sale during 2017. One of Logan City's important goals is neighborhood stability. The concern was that much of the city is zoned R6, which means 6 lots per acre, and what that tends. One of Logan City's important goals is neighborhood stability. The concern was that much of the city is zoned R6, which means 6 lots per acre, and what that tends to do is to provide an incentive for relatively small starter homes, where people buy those homes and then as their children get older, then they relocate, often in the county. Logan City wanted to retain those families, and so 3 areas of the city were considered for NR4 rezones. The NR4 zone allows 4. Logan City's library staff provides excellent service, and the city has an expansive collection, but the library building itself is old and inadequate. It was built originally back in the 1930s, and the current library is a hodgepodge of 6 or 7 different buildings. The building is not efficient functionally and does not allow for the kind of service that's required for a 21st century library. My view is that Logan City needs a new library. The existing building cannot be successfully remodeled, and so we need to find a new location for the library. In addition, the library on its present location on Main Street between 200 North and 300 North is probably not ideal, because that site, that property, could be more effectively used for commercial development. During the summer of 2016, the city employed an architectural firm to analyze various locations for a new library. Also, the city itself identified the amount of money that would be necessary for a new library. It's probably on the order of about $12 million, and most of that funding has been identified from city resources. The city can identify perhaps $8 or $9 million, and so the remainder of that money would need to be identified from private sources and a fundraising activity initiated. We anticipate that we'll finalize a location for a new library during the next few months. 2016 was the Logan Library's 100th anniversary, and so each month during 2016 the library sponsored celebrations depicting different decades. And then on April the 18th, 2016, which was the 100th anniversary, the library had a centennial celebration. The library was also involved in a storytelling festival at Merlin Olson Park during the summer of 2016. Logan City's financial condition is of great concern and is continually re-examined. Our assessment is that our financial situation is excellent. Every year, our finances are subject to review by external auditors. During 2016, they indicated no concerns and even went a step further and suggested that we're doing extremely well. We have healthy reserves in each of our accounts, and if we look at the amount of outstanding debt per citizen, that number actually went down between 2015 and 2016. In 2017, as we look at our revenue forecasts, we realize that the dollars may be a little tighter. It's no cause for concern, but we'll continue to monitor that and make sure that we live within our means. A number of organizations rank cities on different dimensions. Logan City has been ranked as one of the safest cities in the United States, as one of the best small college towns in the United States, and in 2017 it was ranked as the number 5 best performing city in the United States. As I look back on what was accomplished during 2016, I think it's very impressive. We had a great year, and I want to express my appreciation to the citizens of Logan for their support, to the Logan City Council, and especially to the Logan City employees. Because as we reflect back on the projects that have been highlighted in this presentation, those are projects that have been accomplished by the competence and the efforts of our Logan City employees. And I'm very, very appreciative to them, and I look forward to a great 2017 with many additional significant accomplishments.